Hello and welcome to the Interview, an interview series where we pull back the curtain and catch a glimpse at the personal side of the ordinary people who are achieving extraordinary results. On today's episode, I have Brandon Beston of the Beston Homes team out of Denver, Colorado. Brandon, how are you?
Great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, for the people on here that maybe not know you, you and your team have been able to be in the top of your market center for the last few years, last year being one of the years in particular in which you were the number one salesperson in your business during a time where also in business, a lot of people might say, keep your personal beliefs out of business. Yet you've been able to build a business on that authenticity and doubling down on your personal beliefs. So maybe give people a little bit of an understanding about how you've come about doing that and what you've been able to do on building your business.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think for me, being authentic has always been something that was important to me when I got into real estate and building my business. I wanted to make sure that I was being true to myself and I wasn't trying to be somebody else to just to build a business and to make money. Um, you know, I think my community and being who I am and standing up for what I believe in has always been very important to me. And I wasn't gonna put that to the side just because I was selling houses.
And so for people who might be thinking, maybe there's not enough business to go around, like what would you say to challenge that view on you being able to find people that are in alignment with your views that want to do business with you?
Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of silly that I've been saying this since I got into real estate. When I'm talking to new agents or folks that are interested in getting into real estate, and they talk about how many people are real estate, how many people have the real estate license. And I tell people all the time, and this is the way I've thought since I started, is that there's over 7 billion people in the world. I do not want to help them all buy a house.
Sure.
I want them all to have a house, but I don't want to I don't want to be the one to help them all. So there's plenty of people in the world and plenty of people that need your help. And I think that the thing about being authentic is that I attract the people into my world that I want, that, we're in alignment, and it's going to be a fun opportunity to help them buy a house or sell a
So,
house.
so when talking about attracting specifically, right? Because there's plenty of people who might be passionate about certain causes or they might be involved and this is a broad range, right? We have people that we talk to all the time that have built businesses around dog rescues. There have been people who've built around microcosms, and one in particular for yourself has been around progressive issues and the LGBTQ plus community. So it's one thing to be a member of a community. It's another thing to talk about attracting that business towards you. So maybe giving people some examples of what you've done intentionally to build business around those things that you were already maybe socially involved with.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've always been an advocate and an activist. I've, been in a number of marches. That's always been part of who I am. I think standing up for people, my community, and for other people that need people to stand up for them, using my abilities and my resources to be able to do that.
Mhm.
And so things that I've done in business to align myself with organizations is volunteering, donating for different LGBTQ plus organizations, and then getting more involved. Most recently joined the board of One Colorado.
Okay. And so One Colorado is one of those organizations, and this might be a plug for them, yet you've also done other things to be involved. And so I think for a lot of people who might be coming away from this interview looking for strategies on how they could not just watch your success and applaud you on your success, yet also go, oh, that feels more in alignment with what I'm looking for. And, I think you've always been one to talk about this in terms of historically what the model has been and sometimes how you've pushed back against that. Yet you yourself are a model on how to do it this way. So for anybody who's looking for the model on building a strategic business that is in alignment with their values, like what would be some tips or some plays that you would tell them to try to do and take back into their community?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I'm not the typical agent. I don't follow the typical model. I'm not on the phones talking to people, calling strangers 2 hours, 4 hours a day, trying to find people that want to work with me. So really, I fill my calendar with showing up for my community, whether that's volunteering for the diversity committee with the Keller Williams Rainbow Network, being on their leadership team, giving my time and my ideas and energy and putting those things in my calendar when a normal person would be calling, maybe door knocking or calling, uh, you know, for sale by owners or expireds, things like that. So I really fill my like lead generation time with serving my community and volunteering with my community.
And so not getting confused that, oh, Brandon is telling me like I should just go to clubs and organizations and events. How are you intentional on making sure that you're leaving that with new contacts? And then what happens with those people after they've met you?
Absolutely. I mean, all these groups and organizations that I'm a part of, I'm building relationships.
Mhm.
And it's not really, and it's not, the end result is nice that you will eventually maybe get business from those people. But for me, it's really about just building authentic relationships. Does that answer your question? Is that what you're
Yeah,
asking?
I mean, I think so. I think, in my experience, I've talked to a lot of people who will go like, oh, well, I do all of those things that he's talking about, yet I'm not getting the same results. And so if there was something about this that was a plug and play, and so for you, you've been able to, I don't want to say copy paste, but you've been able to formulate something which says, if you're in a room, is there a certain number of people that you're trying to talk to? And then after that, how are you effectively communicating with them through marketing efforts or social media? I mean, how does someone get put into the Brandon Beston machine, if you will, that thinks about you when it is time for real estate referrals?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, so it's building the relationships, getting to know people, following them on social media. I feel like I do a good job being consistent on social media, letting people know what I'm up to, so that when you know hundreds of thousands of people, it's you're not going to be able to communicate with each of them. And so it's doing all putting them in the agent to agent newsletter, being in weekly masterminds with the Rainbow Network specifically. Um, yeah, I mean, all that, I think that covers it.
Sure. And so on a monthly basis, kind of looking at a little bit more of those practical pieces, again, we want people to be able to come away from here not only to get to know a little bit about you, but then also specifically on your business. So if I am one of those people that maybe I've met you through those efforts with One Colorado, how am I hearing from you or from your business on, say, a monthly basis?
Oh yeah, I mean, you're getting added to the database, into Command, and I do an agent to agent newsletter, so they're getting a newsletter once a month. So they're
Mhm.
hearing from me at least once a month via email. I'm following them and interacting with people on social media. And then somebody that's maybe not an agent, but a different organization, they're going into Command and they're getting the Sphere newsletter, and again, engaging on social media, and then out in the world in
Okay.
events.
Uh, are you doing anything? So there are some people who believe in print, digital marketing, as well as physical kind of snail mail or direct marketing. Looking at some of those different things, why is it so important to you and your business to be as diversified in your approach as it is that your community be diversified?
Well, yeah, I mean, not everyone's well, first, social media, the algorithm, you don't know who's really seeing your stuff. You're
Mhm.
hoping that they're seeing your stuff, you just never know. And so you can't just rely just on social media, because they may not see what you're doing. So that's why email is important. And then folks that don't read their emails, it's important that they're getting touched multiple different ways, so that you hope that they're seeing what we're doing.
Sure. So looking into the future for yourself and your business, I mean, what are you most proud of that you've accomplished, and what are you excited about that you're working on as you're kind of going into the next few years of the business?
Yeah, I mean, I think last year, I think a lot of things came into alignment, things that I've been working towards, um, you know, getting onto the leadership team of the Rainbow Network. But again, I started that by just showing up and helping, being volunteering on the diversity committee and helping put panels together and helping put different events together and moderate different things, so that, one, to serve my community, and then two, to be visible so that people know who I am and see me.
Mhm.
So being on the leadership team of the Rainbow Network, joining the board of One Colorado, that was pretty awesome, an awesome honor, I think. Um, what else? The Catalyst Society with United Way is another young professional group of people that are like-minded, that love to volunteer, that love to give back to their community. Um, and it's a good networking opportunity. So those are different things that I'm doing to, just be in my community and give back to my community.
And so were those choices of organizations random, or how did you come about kind of building a plan of what you were going to be a part of and not be a part of?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Rainbow Network came naturally. It was, being with Keller Williams and being plugged into the Rainbow Network, just being a member of it has given so much to me and my business, and I've learned so much from and built such amazing relationships with those folks. So that was kind of a natural path to the leadership.
Mhm.
Um, One Colorado is an organization that obviously, I have the rights I do because of the work that they've done for years. And so when I got introduced to them and became a volunteering with them and a donor for them, it was never like a long-term goal to be on the board. But as I was getting more involved with the organization, it's nice to see that they value my who I am and what I have to bring to the table to help the organization.
Mhm. I mean, I think the interesting part of this all is anything that feels like a natural progression. I know personally by you and I working together for years on how intentional this was. And I don't want anyone to be confused in thinking that this is calculated or completely diplomatic on the climbing some kind of ladder. Yet I
Right.
do know that there is strategy and intention that happens behind these things, which is making sure that the activities that you're doing for your business are also in alignment with some of the goals that you have for yourself. So maybe for anybody who's looking for that win-win in this regard, I mean, why is it so important to you to not just go in one aspect, right? So not putting all of your effort and energy into your business. I mean, you and I spend a lot of time talking about your personal health and the things that you're passionate about. So why is it so important to you to make sure that these aren't sitting in silos, that there is kind of this holistic approach to the stuff that you're doing during work and during play?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a whole person, right? And I'm not just a realtor. I'm not just a real estate agent. I don't just sell houses. That's just part of what I do, but I'm a whole person. So, there's it's unnatural for me to have things be siloed for this to be my job and then this to be how I serve my community and then this is how I enjoy my life. Like it doesn't make sense to me to separate those things. So just it's very natural and authentic, I think, to me to that they all blend together.
Absolutely. And I think, one of the last parts that might be helpful with a lot of people to understand on this call in particular is just that coaching relationship that you and I have in building a little bit around these particular topics. I think so often people will get really busy and they'll look down and they'll go, I don't know where all of this business has come from. I've never heard that one from you
Yeah,
before.
I've never said that.
And so, where do you think has building a coaching relationship that has known that these things are valuable to you, how has it been helpful for your business for maybe someone out there that hasn't thought of coaching or hasn't looked into that personal development in this space? What would you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you and I have done through the coaching is just like I said, looking at my calendar. Like, where am I spending my energy? Where am I putting my time? Where am I like physically going to be in my community? And again, I do those things for my community, not for the business, but the business is a nice bonus that I get back from it. So just like focusing on where I'm spending my energy with building my community and like, again, that turns into business.
Yeah, we have a um, we have this feeling like we have to push away from the business part of the conversation, right? Like, oh, my heart is in it and that's where it is, and I don't want it to be seen like it's being put through that business filter. And yet, unfortunately, fortunately, our society is one that runs on money. It also means that, by your business being more successful, you're able to give to a lot of these organizations that you are extremely passionate about. I think one of the interesting parts of that might be, how could you give advice to someone who might feel like they're taking advantage or it doesn't feel authentic to be able to do both things. Like there almost has to be that wall between the things that they're passionate about and their business. Like what advice would you give to someone to get over that hurdle so that they can be serving their community and it also be good for business?
Well, I think, I mean, and this is going to sound a little pretentious, but like my community needs me to help them be able to buy homes. Like I know that that I'm going to protect them. I'm going to make sure they have a good experience. I'm going to make sure that I put their interest, like I'm not, I'm putting their interests first. And so they deserve to have somebody that can do a good job and can make sure that they have a good experience. So, it, I don't know how it sounds, but it's, to me, it's that my community deserves somebody that's going to help them and going to make sure that they can get advance in the world, and that's, again, we live in a capitalist society, so advancing means helping them build wealth and having home and having security and having home ownership and being able to have those things. I think that's important for my community. The one organization we haven't talked about, and it's is the LGBTQ plus Real Estate Alliance. So that's the Colorado chapter. I'm on the board of that as well. And so one of our goals is to increase homeownership rates. In the LGBTQ plus community, the homeownership rate's 49%, while the general public's about 64. And so it's also important for me to help my community be more stable and be more secure with homeownership.
I think it's obviously it's an admirable cause. I think it also gives you a level of motivation where sometimes this business can get really boring, right? I mean, and to be completely honest, there is only so much excitement that you can have. I love when people first get into real estate and I love houses and I love helping people and they're just so, they love everything. And then there comes a certain kind of point where maybe the honeymoon phase wears off. Yet for you to have your activities be so much in alignment with pushing the community forward and helping people out, I definitely feel like you have a way of returning to the well and getting re-inspired because of the change that is involved. And I know one of those issues that you might like to talk about is the LGBTQ housing, the organization that you're a part of in terms of helping, and the nonprofit. So maybe help people know a little bit about that and why that's so important to you and the Rainbow Network.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of different names, a lot of different acronyms, but the one I think you're talking about is the LGBTQ plus Housing Initiative, which was born out of the Keller Williams Rainbow Network, and it's a non-for-profit that raises money for homeless LGBTQ plus youth. 40% of homeless youth we suspect, and we have a good idea that are identified as LGBTQ plus. And so Dave Gervaisi, one of the board members of that organization, he always says that when those children are kicked out of their families, they become part of our family. And so it's important for us to raise money and make sure that we're taking care of our children.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I know that there's so many people that are not only a part of the Rainbow Network, but have been a part of the housing initiative, and really great things have been able to happen. So in terms of parting words, last words, for anybody out there that maybe is a member of the LGBTQ plus community, is either in real estate or thinking about getting into real estate, maybe they're looking to build their business and get closer in alignment with the community, what would be some suggestions that you would have for them?
Well, the first thing I would say is that I know I'm very lucky. I live in a very progressive part of the country where it is very safe to be out and be proud. And that's not an opportunity that everybody has. And that's one of the things I would like to also help push forward, is that everyone, no matter where you live, can be out and proud and feel safe. So that would be something I would say. But yeah, I think for me, and for anybody, as best as they can, is being authentic, like we started with. Like that's the thing that's the most important to me. I never want to jeopardize my values and my morals just for a paycheck or another deal. Like that doesn't feel good to me. So I would just say, like, being authentic, be true to who you are, and the people that need to find you will find you.
I love that. Well, Brandon, thank you so much for taking some time to be with me. We are celebrating Pride this month, in the month of June. So thank you so much. For anybody who wants to get in contact with you, where are you on social media? How can they find you or your team, or be able to reach out to you?
Absolutely. So you can follow us on Instagram at the Beston Homes team.
Mhm.
And then Phone number would be 720-323-7807. Give me a call. We can chat.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Brandon. I really appreciate it. And for everybody, stay tuned. We have more episodes of the interview coming up. Perfect.